YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, WBA, World Boxing Association's welterweight super champion, Cuban star boxer, Yordenis Ugas, who is 27 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, with 12 wins by way of knockout. He's 35 years of age, 5'9", with a 69-inch arm reach. He will be going into a mega massive unification bout April 16th, and it's being reported that it's going to take place in Dallas, Texas, at Cowboys Stadium against undefeated unified WBC IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer who is widely considered by many to be top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world in Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. has 27 wins, no losses, no draws, 21 big wins by way of knockout. He's 31 years of age, 5'9.5", with a 72-inch arm reach. With that said, Yordenis Ugas, he shocked the world when he beat legendary 8-division world champion, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny "Pac-Man" Pacquiao, August 21st of 2021 in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the T-Mobile Arena. When he beat Manny Pacquiao unanimous decision, he filled in for the original opponent was scheduled to be Errol Spence, but Errol Spence suffered a broken detached retina, and Errol Spence had to be removed from the fight. And so with that said, Yordenis Ugas, he shocked the world. He was supposed to be the co-main event. He dominated Manny Pacquiao. With that said, Yordenis Ugas is very confident. He had some very close fights. He faced off against a common opponent, Errol Spence, 2-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer who is now retired and a future Hall of Famer in Showtime Shawn Porter. And many people thought that Yordenis Ugas won that fight against Showtime Shawn Porter. With that said, now Yordenis Ugas is going into a fight where he coming off of a win against Manny Pacquiao. Many people thought he beat Shawn Porter. Very confident, have momentum going into a fight with Errol Spence Jr. And he's dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's, making sure there's no stone unturned. Errol Spence is a southpaw. Yordenis Ugas is bringing in now a 2-division world champion, a superstar boxer from Cuba himself, one of the best fighters out of Cuba in Erislandy Lara. Erislandy Lara is now 28 wins, 3 losses, 3 draws, 16 wins by way of knockout, 38 years of age, 5'9", with a 75-inch arm reach. He's a southpaw. Erislandy Lara is very rangy, okay, very compatible to Errol Spence's, size and skill set, okay. Now, Erislandy Lara is much more of a mover. He's much more of a puncher, a boxer puncher, right? He's much more of a, utilizing the ring, utilizing his feet, right? As sometimes people think Erislandy Lara utilizes his feet far too much. I personally thought that when Erislandy, he lost a fight that I thought he won back in July of 2014 when he took on 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer who's now the undisputed super middleweight in Saul Canelo Alvarez. He lost a split decision to Canelo Alvarez, but I thought Erislandy Lara won the fight. But the fact that Erislandy Lara utilized the ring far too much, moving around too much, well, that saw him lose a split decision. If he stood in the pocket more often, he was the quicker guy, he was the more rangy guy, he showed to be the better pure boxer, he was more accurate than Canelo Alvarez, he could have gotten a few more rounds to get the judge's nod. But nonetheless, he didn't. Okay, but Erislandy Lara is a great boxer, very technically sound, a southpaw who Errol Spence is 5'9.5". Erislandy Lara is 5'9". He's a southpaw. Errol Spence is a southpaw. They both have power in their left hand, obviously. They both have great jabs, their right jabs. Both have right hooks, that will get Yordenis Ugas accustomed to fighting a guy who's tall, rangy, and a southpaw with power and accurate. Erislandy Lara is very accurate. Errol Spence is very accurate, okay? And so with that said, is a lot of compatibilities to Errol Spence and Erislandy Lara. But again, Erislandy Lara is 38, but Erislandy Lara, is still somewhat fresh. He has longer arms than Errol Spence Jr., but there's a lot of similarities between the two. Okay, the difference is Errol Spence is a pressure fighter. Erislandy Lara is not. Now, I'm sure Erislandy Lara being a 160-pounder right now, he's bigger than Yordenis Ugas. He's bigger than Errol Spence. He's able to mimic Errol Spence. Erislandy Lara has a high ring IQ, very high ring IQ, similar to Errol Spence. So I'm sure he can pressure, Yordenis Ugas. He could put Yordenis Ugas in positions and mimic Errol Spence Jr. Okay. Now the difference is, again, like I said, is Errol Spence is going to fight you right there in the pocket, and he is a relentless body attacker. Okay. Erislandy Lara is not. Okay, he'll switch levels on you. He'll throw combinations, very powerful, but he's not the body puncher that Errol Spence is. But I'm sure, again, he can mimic that. Now, what's more interesting is about this as well is that Yordenis Ugas is a guy who doesn't have much power, and if he don't have the power to keep Errol Spence's attention and keep Errol Spence honest, coming in, working his way in, he's going to be in trouble. Okay, again, he has 12 knockouts in 34 fights. Okay, so he's 27 wins with 4 losses, but he only has 12 knockouts. So he's just simply not a big puncher at all whatsoever. Now, what's more interesting is that it's going to be a pay-per-view event, and it's going to take place from reports that I'm hearing. It's going to take place in Dallas, Texas at Cowboys Stadium. Okay, Errol Spence has had a lot of success at Cowboys Stadium. His last few pay-per-view events, his first pay-per-view event against 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer Mikey Garcia was at Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and it did 350,000 pay-per-view buys. His last fight with Danny Swift Garcia, 2-division world champion Puerto Rican superstar boxer, was at Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and it reported did a 315 to 320,000 pay-per-view buys. But again, it did the biggest gate in 2020, bigger than Canelo Alvarez and bigger than Gervonta Tank Davis. So he's proven star at Dallas Cowboys Stadium. Okay. And so with that said, it's looking like it's going to be April 16th, at Cowboys Stadium, pay-per-view event to assure that, it's a success on pay-per-view. That's very smart. Yordenis Ugas is a Cuban star boxer. He's not a superstar. He garnered a lot of fans. Okay, he got a Cuban fan base, but at the end of the day, he just doesn't have, a big following. Okay, he doesn't have an enormous fan base. So in order to secure that this fight is a success, that makes sense for the fight to take place in Dallas Cowboys Stadium in Dallas. Okay, because Errol Spence, he has an enormous fan base. Okay, especially in Dallas, and he's born in New York. He has family in New York. He has a lot of fan base in New York. And then he represents Dallas, Texas. So he has 2 major markets that is going to support Errol Spence Jr. And to put it at Dallas Cowboys Stadium, where you could have is limitless as amount of fans that you could put in there. It's for the sport of boxing, definitely. You could put 100,000 fans, 100,000 seats in Cowboy Stadium. So you want to put, and I've been to both Errol Spence's fights, the Danny Garcia fight, the Mikey Garcia fight, and Errol Spence, he packed out the house. It was at least 50 to 60,000 fans there. So you can guarantee that he's going to do 50 to 60,000 fans in Dallas Cowboy Stadium. So it's looking like April 16th, Dallas Cowboy Stadium. And the anticipation to see Errol Spence back in the ring once again, because after that fight with Danny Garcia, December 5th, 2020, he's been out the ring again for an extensive period of time because of an eye injury. So prior to that fight, he was out the ring for 14 months. Now he was out the ring for over, another 13 or going on 14 months again since we last saw him in the ring. So this makes sense, to put it in Dallas Cowboy Stadium. It's not going to hinder Yordenis Ugas. It's not that Yordenis Ugas is going to feel, he needs a neutral site to be successful. Once you get in the square circle, once you ring the bell, it only makes sense that the fight takes place there. So it looks like April 16th, Dallas Cowboys Stadium, on pay-per-view. But again, this is a great move on the part of Yordenis Ugas to bring in a fellow Cuban in Erislandy Lara, who has, again, a lot of similarities to Errol Spence. He's much more of a mover. Hopefully, Erislandy Lara is mimicking, Errol Spence Jr., pressuring him, because Errol Spence Jr.'s style is a lot different than Yordenis Ugas' style, okay? Errol Spence's style is a pressure fighter. He's a boxer puncher, but the way he sets up his punches and goes to the body with a high guard. Now, Erislandy Lara, he uses that high guard as well. He's very sharp with his left hand and very sharp with his right hand. Errol Spence has a great jab. Erislandy Lara has a great jab, right hook. They have a lot of similarities, so it's a smart move on the part of Yordenis Ugas, but still in all, when it counts under the lights with those small gloves on, I just don't think Yordenis Ugas has enough power to keep Errol Spence off of him, and I think that Errol Spence will break him down and may ultimately stop Yordenis Ugas around the 9th, 10th round. But let's see how this plays out and unfolds. Make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section, let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share the videos. That's all I got for you. Peace.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Wow.